China, possibly the world's most interesting country. I've spent the last few months traveling across this nation, including some regions considered slightly more off the beaten path.
Sound of gunshots in the distance.
Today, I'll be visiting China's largest city, and it's not what you'd expect. There will be no big skyscrapers, no grayscale of smog, or any busy traffic, and that's because China's, and the world's largest city, is this frozen, flat, and empty wasteland at the foothills of Mongolia.
Hour 45 minutes since leaving city center, and still in the city.
I spent the day driving on ice roads for nearly 8 hours to get here, nearly sliding to my demise with the cheap car that has accompanied me across China so far.
This road is too difficult for our car.
So join me as I continue into the deep north and find out how this, and this, can somehow be China's largest and possibly most unusual megacity.
I want to go to Hulunbuir, which is the biggest city in the world, even though it has a quite low population. But it's the biggest city in the world, biggest municipality by landmass. I think it's something like 680,000 square kilometers, which is obscene for a single city. So it also sounds nice, the biggest city in the world. And it's one of the coldest places in this northern hellscape. It'll be negative 30 degrees by the time we get there.
We're starting our day in Harbin, a strange Russian-influenced city and part-time Russian-themed amusement park in China's far north. I'll be driving through the night on these icy roads to reach the city center of Hulunbuir, a sub-district named Halar. And when I say icy, I really mean icy.
It really is just nothing as far as the eye can see. Imagine this just rubbing on our wheels the whole time. Wanted to note something. I don't know what it is, or if it was a translation issue that exists in Mongolia, but every single pull door doesn't pull, it pushes, and every single push door doesn't push, it pulls. It's been that way in the hotel, it's been that way in the convenience stores, it's been that way in restaurants. Nothing has been accurate yet, but it has it in Chinese as well. I can't read it, but I'm assuming that must be opposite. Whoever's job it was to translate all of that has done a shit job.
After about 4 hours on the road, most of those hours technically inside the city, I can finally see the city center in the distance, and like any proper Chinese city, I get a few glamorous shots from their nationwide surveillance system upon entry.
There's just these piles of burnt residue everywhere. Another one, and another one, and another one. But for what purpose? Well, this is the resting point of today after making it through the ice road and the Arctic tundra. It's a little dramatic after making it here. Greeted by this stunning display. Good morning from the icy streets of Hulunbuir, Inner Mongolia. It's a little bit of a different view today. That said, the local river is completely frozen, and the damage from the night before, meaning the piles of burnt miscellaneous items and an apple, remain in the snow as they will be for the foreseeable future. So, for some important context now, this is the world's largest city, and we're going to go see if there's anything interesting in the world's largest city. Oh, but someone might say, but wait, there's only 250,000 people living in this city. Well, for some reason, the Chinese government has labeled this entire region of Hulunbuir as a single municipality, making it by landmass the largest city in the world. I think something upwards of 600,000 square kilometers, larger than 48 American states in almost any country in Europe. Why? Whether it was convenience or something else, I'm not really sure. I think maybe we'll start by going downtown and seeing if it lives up to its title as the world's largest city, and maybe eat some more lamb. After all, the city's known for being big, but even more so, it's known for its lamb. Eating lamb, wearing lamb, raising lamb, herding hundreds of lamb across a highway. So I'm gonna give it a shot, see if there's anything to do. And if there's not, we'll just go visit the grasslands, try to find something interesting. I don't know if I expected anything different, but the road is still just covered in ice. The road is fucking so icy. Well, this is the old town of the largest city in the world. Oh, you have Iron Man. So what happens here in the newly built old town of the world's largest city? Well, the answer is nothing really. Oh, but there's a sheep. There's the town mascot, and it's not that woman, it is that sheep. Nice soundtrack. But this is what we came here for. And it is this sheep, specifically this one. There's not a lot happening over here. You have the peace bar. Oh, you have traditional Mongolian carnival mirrors. Very cool. That's nice. You have whatever these are, and then a big Chinese Mongolian gate. There seems to be a lot of art galleries and things here, and a yurt with a British telephone booth, as they always have gone together. I miss you very much in Hulunbuir, Amban Goyo, whatever the Amban Goyo means. We're coming up on the crime scene from last night.
Yeah, so last night when I arrived, I committed a very dastardly crime, as you can see here, which I'm sure the locals appreciated.
The very inappropriate message left on this board over here. Let's see if it remains a little more than 12 hours later. Take a look. Oh, your garbage pile has mostly been removed. Let's see. Check the damage on this one. It's a thing of the past.
To absolutely nobody's surprise, our public message failed to resonate with the public.
The people here are clinically insane, because they'll cross the road without looking on the iciest stretches where if any car tried to stop, they would just slide right into them, and they do not give a fuck at all. Which I've tried to emulate, but people just are gawking at me. And I worry they'll forget to brake. They act like they've never seen a white person before. It's pretty quiet on the streets other than this megaphone. Oh, but maybe it's just that there's not that much going on here. Returning to a convenience store to find, let's see if we can find some rare Mongolian snacks, such as this Pikachu cookie. Get chicken feet, chicken feet, chicken feet, chicken feet, chicken feet, or a chicken leg. Somewhere on here is a local soup kitchen that specializes in mutton, and locals say it's good, therefore it's good enough for me. But I don't know where it is. And I might have routed to the wrong place. Driving here is tedious. Does that look like an establishment?
I suppose while looking for food that it's worth mentioning now why I decided to come here.
Now it's time to find the very tasty lamb. Tasty lamb.
I found out that this was the largest city in the world by accident. The real reason I came here was because of this old Quora review that said it was the best city in China due to the very, very tasty sheep, which taste very, very good. The sheep in sticks, which I tried last night, and I can say confidently that they lived up to the hype.
Yeah, what is a bull patty whack? What could that possibly be? The sheep artery is pretty good. Is sheep liver, I think. It translated to top gourd in the menu, so I knew it wasn't a gourd. In fact, I had a strong feeling it was not a gourd.
Let's get back to the present though, where I'm trying to find the top mutton soup restaurant in the entirety of this country-sized city.
Is it open? Are there hours posted? Mutton soup. That sounds promising. Is it open?
We can try it.
Let's find out. Enter this very closed looking place. Oh, what do you know? Oh, yeah. Oh, it smells good in here. It's a little hazy in here. It just smells, of just cigarettes and mutton. Definitely not the common patron. Yeah, two different kind of Mongolian pancakes, beef pancakes, and then a lamb organ soup with intestines and blood, among other things, and heart, and then just a mutton soup. But to my surprise, the noodles have been replaced with noodle-like organ meat, so the heart and the stomach cut into noodle-like shapes. There's so much sheep organ. Sheep organ meat pie. My entire diet today is just lamb sheep organ. No carbs, just sheep organ. Sheep organ is the new carb, Inner Mongolia carbohydrate. Okay, that's two lambs out of infinite many lambs in this region. But getting closer to the goal, and so far living up to it, for finding the tasty, very tasty sheep. So, next stop, before we head out into the grasslands, is to find Genghis Khan Square, the man that once conquered these lands from China and then was taken back. In true Chinese driving fashion, the way out has been blocked by a truck, so I have to reverse my way over the ice to new horizons somewhere else. So I'm blocked off that way, and then there's a car that just parked here who's literally nobody's in it. What am I supposed to do about this?
You know what business they went into?
I don't know. That guy's just gonna go forward. What are you honking at? What do you want me to do?
Who's talking where?
This you dumbass.
Are you stupid?
Now I'm heading to the memorial for Genghis Khan, the man who once ruled these lands and, well, encouraged one of the most famous ancient structures of the world. And despite various news reports noting that many of these types of memorials in Inner Mongolia have been closed down by the CCP, there is supposedly a very prominent one here that has avoided any such controversy. So let's go and check it out.
Okay, This is the last stop in the world's largest city, home of the tasty lamb, and it is the statue in memorial of Genghis Khan, a man who conquered, pillaged, and spread his DNA around one of the most large spread kingdoms that the world has ever seen. And there he is. And then, for a bit of Mongolian flair, the braziers, much like that on the Mongol flag. It says here in Chinese and Mongolian, something that I can't read at all. So the Mongol script talks about his early life, his poisoned father, and his troubled upbringing before being the man who united all of the Mongol tribes to create the horde that conquered a large portion of the known world. Until his death in his mid-60s. From illness, not even from battle. He lived his full life in half the battles carried on. Quite impressive. It's, like I mentioned before, it's funny to see him here, right? Because he was a fucking thorn in the spine for the Chinese dynasties at the time, and as was his son. But here he is, immortalized at one of the northernmost points of Inner Mongolia. It's time to go because it's too cold to carry on. Well, it's a semi-eventful trip to the largest city in the world. There's one last bit of the city I'd like to see, and it doesn't quite fit the image that you would expect of a city, nor does it fit the image I would expect of a city. We're off to the grasslands. One last little bit before the sun goes down and we say goodbye to Hulunbuir.
And I'm back on the road for now, still somehow in the city limits, probably for at least a few more hours. Most of the signs now feature Mongolian and Chinese, which, a fun fact for you guys, is that the Mongolian script is really only used in China, since the Mongolians in their own country use Russian Cyrillic. Oddly enough, I think it's related to some sort of communist shit in the 70s, or something like that. 30, maybe 40 minutes out of the city, and we're still closer to city center than we are on the edge of the city. Technically, this whole area of here is just another neighborhood, rather than a separate township, which is completely bizarre. We've just been driving across big, open, icy plains, town to town, village to village. We're still in the same city. As I continue my drive further north, the land becomes flatter and more Mongolian-style homes start to litter the countryside. This is still the same city, Hulunbuir.
Oh my god, there's animals.
Wow.
I don't know what they were.
Does this look like we're close to the city? Does this look like we're in a city?
Those horses.
Hello, horses.
Eat
Those
them.
horses are all dinner. There really is just nothing as far as the eye can see. Welcome to Hulunbuir City, world's largest city. It's so fucking stupid. Maybe China needs to readdress this situation. My view becomes somehow even flatter. Now the grazing lands for various forms of dinners, such as sheep, camels, and cows.
Okay, it's about maybe hour 45 minutes since leaving city center, and still in the city. At a nice little rest stop. You have the Russian dolls as we approach the Russian border, a monument of some kind, and then interestingly enough, a barracks and a military base just behind me, and some symbols for the communist government, and a large military base stretching off into the barren land that is Inner Mongolia. I wonder what happens there in Inner Mongolian military base. We got to see most of the inhabitants on our drive so far, the average inhabitant being a camel, goat, sheep, and cow. The villages are getting sparser and sparser. I guess they're not villages, they're neighborhoods. And the sun is nearly down, which means we're coming to a close on our journey across the world's largest city. I'm going to stop at some what used to be grasslands before the snow came and say goodbye to the sun. And then after that, I think I'll be calling it a day. And that's that. We got kicked off the main highway because it's closed because of the snow, so on a local road as we continue north. The sun is down. The sky is absolutely massive. There's not a soul out here as it gets a little bit colder. I can only hope the road is decent enough. And even now, hours later, into this cold winter plateau, it is still the same city of Hulunbuir, the world's largest city. Well, that's it for now. Next stop, heading to the far north to find a fake Russian city. Let's hope that it's interesting.